Babe, I'm not staying, I just wanna play. In the party, he just wanna romp. Big boobs in the bus, they plump. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her baddie friend.
Hey baddies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Let me not be rude. I missed you all very much. For those of you who are new, welcome to Styles by Baddies. I post new videos every week and they all revolve around beauty related content, along with me giving a voiceover telling you guys a story time to keep you entertained. So be sure to subscribe and join the family. Today I'll be giving a story time on the time my friend set me up to get trafficked. So basically I had this friend, let's call her Jada, who was always down to go outside, go to parties and clubs. She was always the life of the party, the one who knew everyone and always wanted to have fun. So we would go out almost every weekend because there's a lot of parties on campus. And if you guys don't know, I am a college student. I go to college in New York City. But anyways, randomly one night out of nowhere, Jada calls me and invites me to a club in another city, Jersey, which is very close to New York. And she's telling me it'll be fun. It'll be a fun girls trip, just the two of us hitting up this exclusive club, partying all night. I didn't really think much of it, especially since she was so confident that, she had everything covered. Like VIP access to the club, which seemed too good to be true, but I didn't even question it. However, I was a little skeptical because I had asked her to send me the tickets from Eventbrite, which is like this ticketing platform where a lot of events are promoted. And usually any event we would go to, we would both buy our tickets, but we didn't for this one. I also didn't hear from anyone else on campus talking about this event, and word gets around a lot on campus, no matter if the party is outside NYC or not. So I started asking a couple of my friends who lived in that area just in case they wanted to go, because I always offer invites. So I'm asking if they heard of the event and if they knew any details about it, and none of them heard about it. They're like, girl, what are you talking about? I have never heard of this event before. And I'm like, well, she told me about it and I'm just gonna go because I feel like it'll be weird if I say no this time after I say yes any other time. So she texts me the day of telling me no phones are allowed at the event and not to spread the word to anybody else. And off rip, I'm like, okay, why? Like, what you mean I can't have my phone? This is my cellular device. She's telling me how it would make it hot if a lot of people knew about it, and she didn't want too many people to be there, and that it was a private, quote-unquote private event with special guests. So I'm asking her more questions like, do you know how we're going to get there? What guests is popping out? She don't know all the event details. We're just going to go with the flow. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just trust her because she's my friend, and every other time we would go out, there was no issue. We got to our destination safe, and we got back home safe. So the day we get to the club, we took an Uber there, by the way, and things start to feel a little off. So Jada's basically texting people nonstop the whole car ride, and when I would ask who she's talking to, she would just brush it off. And I let it slide, thinking it was just the usual party stuff, whatever. And when we get there, the scenery is also very eerie. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere, abandoned houses everywhere, and it's super quiet. So we get out the car, and as we make it to the entrance, these two grown men come up to us, and they come out of a white van. They start asking us questions like, how old are we? Where are we from? And they're like middle-aged, like I want to say like in their 30s, 40s. And Jada is just standing there freely answering the questions. So I hit her arm. I'm like, bro, why are you answering any questions? Like, you don't know who they are, what their motive is. And that should have been my first red flag, that she seemed way too familiar with the guys. Like, they've known each other for a while. So when we get in the club, we're drinking, having a good time, and I'm looking around trying to catch the vibe, and I see people with their phones out recording, texting, and I turn around to let Jada know that too. Come to find out, she's on her phone, still glued to it, texting whoever she was communicating with. So I'm like, what's tea? Like, I thought we weren't allowed to have our phones out. She's like, my bad, girl, they changed the rules, forgot to let you know. I'm like, yeah, okay. So at this point, it's getting very late. It's like 4 a.m., which was later than our usual time we would stay at parties. And the vibes are slowly starting to change. Like, a lot of people are starting to leave. It's getting emptier. And the two men who had been asking us questions outside earlier suddenly appeared inside the club. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence, but then they started walking towards the VIP section, the section that I was at. And one of them, the taller one, approached me directly and said, "Hey, you need to leave this area. You're too young to be here." Which I was confused about because Jada had literally gotten me into the club. I showed the bouncers my ID earlier and everything was fine. Everything was cool, checked out. So I'm like to him, "I'm not leaving. I showed my ID earlier and I'm with her," pointing at Jada. But they weren't having it. And the situation was escalating too quickly. The other guy, who was shorter, chimed in and was like, "You don't have a choice. You need to go now." I was confused. Why was he saying that now when I had been there the whole night? And they both started moving closer towards me, being very intimidating. So I turned to Jada for help, hoping she would back me up, but she was acting weird. She just stood there and said, "It's okay, they're just doing their job." They kept pushing me towards the exit, saying that it was for my safety, and I was starting to feel panicked. Like, that's when it hit me that something was off. So as they continued to push me, I realized they weren't just security. They were trying to isolate me away from the crowd, away from anyone who could stop them. And Jada, I don't know what her role was, but she wasn't helping me. She was part of this too. Which should have been another red flag for me, because if we came in the VIP section together and you supposed to be my friend, why are they not escorting you out too when we're the same age? And like I said, we came in the spot together. So as I'm getting closer to the exit, one of the men is literally grabbing my neck so freaking hard and tight and was pushing me towards the van. Like, he's walking me towards it, and all you can see, y'all, is tears falling down my face, sobbing. And that's when the bouncer saw the panic in my eyes, and he immediately stepped in asking if I was okay. I could barely speak. I was too shaken up. And before I could say anything, one of the guys is like, "We got this. She's with us," pulling me tighter towards them as if, like, not to say anything or else I'm gonna be in trouble. Like, they're gonna do something. But the bouncer wasn't having it at all. He's like, "Hold up," as he steps in front of the guy and positions himself firmly between us. So at this point, he's now like standing between me and like the two men. And he's like, "She doesn't look like she's with you. Back off." And then the shorter man tried to insist, saying, "We're just helping her get home. She's had too much to drink." But the bouncer wasn't convinced. He looked back at me and I could see his mind working, piecing things together. He could see my fear, the tears, my shaky stance. It was clear I wasn't just quote unquote going home with these men. So at this point, he loudly shouts, "Step back." And the men hesitated, exchanging glances. They're both looking at each other, and I could see the frustration in their eyes. And for a second, I worried that they might try to overpower him because it was two of them. But the bouncer wasn't budging, and he looked ready to stand his ground. And one of the men muttered something under his breath before grabbing his friend's arm, the other guy's arm, signaling for them to leave. And they got back in the white van and drove off. The bouncer kept his stance until they were completely out of sight, and then he turned to me and was like, "Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone, a friend, or a cab?" I nodded, barely able to respond, too overwhelmed by what had just happened. He waited with me, not leaving my side, until I was safely in an Uber and on my way back to the city, shaken but safe, thank the Lord. And now y'all might be wondering what happened between me and my friend Jada. Well, once my Uber dropped me off at my dorm, I basically never heard from her ever again. She never texted me to make sure I was good, which I didn't even expect since she was the one who set me up. I blocked her on everything, and yeah, like, what's understood don't gotta be explained. She knows what she did was wrong. I know what she did was wrong. It was no point in talking, arguing, or even tussling about it. I just knew from that moment on that I was cool with her. But anyways, this is to say to be careful who y'all call your friends and be safe out there. But that wraps up for today's story time. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I want to say thank you, baddies, for 20K. More content coming soon. I love y'all, and see you in the next video.
day I'm not staying, I just wanna play. In the party, he just wanna romp. Big boobs in the bus, they plump. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her